Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, class, for joining the eighth video. This is the time for you after finishing in taking the mid test. Okay, yeah, I think. Therefore, we would like to continue with the new material talking about the phenomenology. Again and again, this is the tradition in the qualitative research. Before we move on to the next slide, let's try to recite Umul Kitab to start the class. Let's begin to pray. Okay. This is for me, okay, the time in delivering 15 slides totally. Therefore, I would like to go to the next one. So, what's up with the phenology itself? We have the aim first. So, actually, the phenomenology, the aim is exploring lived experiences and meanings. And here we can find the study sees things as they really are and establishing the meanings of things through taxonomic approaches and abstraction, developing theories through the dialogic relationships of researcher to research. Here we go, talking about the features of phenomenological study. There are five, starting from lived experience, and then bracketing participants, rich description, and validity. So this is the features in having the study. How about the next? We would like to go to the its description one by one. So the first is talking about the life experience. Here, the emphasis should be placed on eliciting the lived experience of participants through certain data collection instruments such as interviews, verbal or written reports, and diaries. After knowing about the description for the first feature, that is life experience, now we move on to the bracketing. What's that? Yeah, it is putting aside the researcher's expectation list. They might influence the descriptions provided by research participants throughout the course of the study. Without bracketing, the researcher might formulate research on interview questions in a way that reflects his own preconceived assumption on the phenomenon at hand rather than what stands out in participants' perception. Now we move on to the third feature. There is participants. So of course this is the purposeful sampling ranging from 1 to 20 is object for in phenomenological studies. The participants are expected to have first-hand experience of the phenomenon at question. Furthermore, the participants' willingness to reflect on their perceptions through the specified mode of data collection, seems like interview, written report, or diaries, should be ascertained by the researcher. Furthermore, the participants' willingness to reflect on their perceptions through the specific mode of data collection, interview, written report, and also diaries, as the previous example, should be ascertained by the researcher. How about the fourth feature? It is about the rich description. There are 2 points actually. The first is an inductive approach is taken for the analysis of the collected data. Meticulous analysis of the data is required as to capture the essence of the phenomenon being researched. Every specific words and phrases in the data referred to as micro aspects of discourse should be coded. Even in some cross-cultural studies, there is a need for an insider to reflect on the special literary devices employed by the participants throughout the data collection phase of the inquiry. The second one, then, the recurring patterns in the data referred to as the macro aspects should be sorted out and labeled as the main themes of the data. The rich descriptions of data be evidenced by securing qualities such as vividness, richness, accuracy, and elegance. Here we go for the last feature. It's about validity. There are also 2 points. The first is to seek for validation of the findings. The researcher might both consider the findings of the other related researchers or refer to the participants of the study at hand. Based on this validation, the researcher then would be in position to share the findings. Although validating the findings of phenomenological studies through member checking has been disputed by some phenomenologists, arguing that the participants understandably lack the needed expertise to judge research findings. The participants' affirmation of the emerged meaning and themes resonated with their lived experience would be of great value. In fact, based on the collective experience, participants usually suggest minor changes in researchers' interpretations of the meaning of the experience. And it belongs to the second item in the last feature, that is validity. After which we move on to the real example how to conduct the phenomenological study or phenomenology. A phenomenological study offers great teachers lived experience of major challenges facing online education. That's the title. Okay, and then written by 3 authors here in 2023, published in the Journal of E-Learning and Knowledge Society. So you may check with the volume 19 and then the number 9 on page 75 to 88. How about the abstract? You may go directly to the web link and also going to discuss about the keywords here. There are 5 keywords stated. The first is teachers, online education, first grade, qualitative approach, and the last is phenomenological study. Now we move on to the method. Here we can check that the research design as qualitative approach is often adopted to describe situations and events and pay much attention to the details. And then by using the assumption coming from Strauss and Corbin 2008, and then added by Smith et al. 1997, and also the last is Ajawi and Hicks 2007. Here we have to check the participants. How about this method? It happened in the academic year 2020 to 2021, and then the sampling method was also purposive type, and 10 first grade teachers participate in the study. Talking about the sample size, coming from the Stewart and Carpenter 2003 here. Okay, now we move on the demographic characteristic. It's quite nice, to name with the initial or the alphabetical, and then followed by the second column about the age, marital status, level of education, field of study, teaching experience, number of children, history of first grade teaching experience, and then the last demographic characteristic is type of employment. This is the study participants' demographic characteristic. How about the data collection tool? Used my structure interview as the main data collection tool. Okay, good. And then we move on about the data collection. So the first time, a call was published in some virtual groups and among first grade teachers, and they were invited to participate in the study. And you may check with the sequential data collection uh, used by the authors or researchers. Now, this is the last step in the method about the data analysis. By using the IPA, okay, interpretative phenomenological analysis, as well as the qualitative thematic approach developed by Smith, 1997, and then with the three stages. The first is data generation, data analysis, and case integration. And this is the criteria of credibility, namely the transferability and then dependability, conformability. Yeah, so the authenticity was another criterion for evaluation purposes in this qualitative research as delivered by Lincoln and Guber, 1986. The last one, that the reliability itself. Okay, based on the Miles and Huberman formula 2016. Okay, so that's all about the theoretical point of view and also the practicality, how to do or conduct the research about the phenomenology. Thank you for having the video, okay, for the 8 ones with me. See you next time in the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.